Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's FPL Yusuf and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel today. We're going to be getting involved in a game week 35 draft. It's that time of the season now as it starts to draw to a close where a lot of people are probably going to be using their wild card in anticipation for the upcoming doubles and probably a bench boosting game week 37. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so welcome back guys to my YouTube channel. Today, as I said in the intro, we're going to be going over a game week 35 draft. Now, just disclaimer before I get into this, there are some tweaks that you can make for this team. A lot of this draft is going to be solely revolved around game week 37, which is obviously a big double. You obviously have the little doubles coming up with, Spurs and Chelsea both have their games, but majority of this draft is going to be solely based around bench boost in game week 37. So just a little disclaimer before we get into it. And obviously, as you guys can see on the screen now, there's only certain teams that I've gone with. Surprisingly, no Arsenal, no Liverpool in tech, but we are going to come on to that in further detail. So I think there's no better way to start than with the defence. We'll include the goalkeepers in this as well. So as you guys can see, it's made up of consistently Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham. Now, why are we going for these sort of teams? Well, the main reason is because they have got the doubles in game week 37, like I said. So naturally, you're going to be wanting to be playing your bench boost if you still have it. And I think this team, for me personally, is just the optimal, which kind of incorporates both at starting 11 for the next couple of weeks until the end of the season, but also something for the bench boost as well. So first up, we've got a back three. This is how I've started the team up, but you can go anywhere you want. I've got Malo Gusto and Petrovic, both from Chelsea in defence. Now, I thought it was important to get Chelsea players in here solely because obviously they have got the most fixtures remaining until the end of the season. Now, Chelsea are a little bit hit and miss in terms of defensively. Cole Palmer is another issue, which we're going to get onto in a minute, but he himself is fine. The defence, I think with Chelsea, you always hope that, okay, maybe there's an outside chance of a clean sheet. But when bringing in someone like Malo Gusto, it's more so for his attacking play. The same with Pedro Porro. You know, the fullbacks on FPL are players that you want to bring in for their attacking returns. If they keep a clean sheet, great. That's just an extra bonus. But you've got them on there for what they can provide attacking wise. I think Malo Gusto at 4.3 million provides a good cheap option, one who's got a lot of games, and obviously with Reece James not looking like he's coming back anytime soon, I think it's pretty safe to say that his minutes are pretty much secure. There was contemplation between him and Cucurella, but I think with Chilwell still around the squad, I do possibly see rotation down that side, whereas Malo Gusto is kind of just out there by himself. So yeah, him and Petrovic both starting us off on here, two Chelsea defenders. Like I said, with the defense, you can sort of chop and change as and when you please. It's more so targeted for the bench boost. We also have a double up on Spurs in defense as well with Pedro Porro and Vicario. Now, with these two, I definitely haven't got them in there for clean sheets. I don't think Spurs have kept a clean sheet all year from January onwards. So I'm really not expecting them to keep clean sheets. Pedro Porro is in there because Udogie is now currently going to be out for the rest of the season by the looks of things, which means he is going to be the most attacking fullback. As we saw, like I think about midway point through the season, when he was bombing forward without Udogie, he was detrimental to how Spurs were playing. He has goal threat, he has assist threat. So I think for me, Pedro Porro in there just makes sense. Without Udogie, he's going to be the one flying forward. And Vicario is in there because he actually does make saves. Spurs defensively aren't the greatest, as we know. They play a very high line, which means they do get a lot of action, which means Vicario is going to have to be called into play a lot of the time. And I think for a keeper, I think if you can have someone who guarantees you save points, on the off chance that they do keep a clean sheet, which they probably will keep one before the end of the season, but on the off chance that they do keep a clean sheet, with those save points coupled up, naturally you end up getting a lot of bonus points with that. So for me, this is why I've gone for both a double up on Chelsea and Spurs. Both of them, the fullbacks, they both attack, and the keepers tend to make a lot of saves because the actual central defence isn't that great. Dallow's in there from Man United, part of another triple up, as you can see throughout the whole team. He's in there because I think he just is Man United's best defender. I think he's the most secured for minutes. Again, the same as Porro and Gusto, he provides an attacking threat, which you don't really get from anyone else from Manchester United. I mean, to be fair to them, they have been struck with injuries quite bad, so there's not really that many options they can go with. But I think for me, he is a bit of a standout player and someone who, when you see Man United going forward, he kind of sort of bombs on quite a lot. And with how poor Man United's wingers are, there's a lot of chances that he gets up in and around that final third to put crosses into Højlund. As you can see, he is on the team as well. So yeah, Diego Dallo is in there. And finally, to top it off in defence, we've gone for Fabian Schär. Now, there is an argument that you could be made for Trippier. I think with this squad that I've got on screen, if you wanted to go for Trippier, you'd have to downgrade someone else. So just bear that in mind. But I think with Trippier, not being 100%, I think Fabian Schär just is that guy. Newcastle looking a lot better defensively than they were, but Fabian Schär offers a great set piece threat as well, which for me is just an added bonus because usually he'll pop up with sort of 3, 4, 5 goals a season. So maybe there's one left in him for the rest of the season. And like I said, Newcastle defending better, have got good fixtures up until then. You know, obviously they're playing Sheffield United this week, as you can see on screen. So he is someone who you could sort of set and forget, start him even when you're like other players have bad fixtures. You know, he's someone who Newcastle got good fixtures to the end of the season. And of course, they have the double in 37. So that is why we've gone for the defense that we've gone for. Let's get on to the midfield now. Okay, so the midfield. Now, this is where the big points are coming from. So as you can see, let's start off with Manchester City first. So we've got the double up in midfield with Man City and Foden and De Bruyne. Now, as you can see, there is no Salah and there is no Saka in this team. Now, why is that? Well, like I said at the start, Man City will have the double in 37. And to be honest with you, now that they're out of Europe, the FA Cup final won't be played till after the season's done. So they have only got one game a week, essentially, until that double comes, which means that they should be able to play a full strength team every single week. Now, as an Arsenal fan, I'm hoping they drop points. Of course I am. But I don't think they'll drop points by losing a game without scoring. So I think that offensively, Foden, De Bruyne, and obviously Haaland, as we can see there, are going to be, I think, for me personally, your best bets going forward. I think they just offer a lot, which, you know, in this point in the season, you kind of want to not limit yourself to having just relying on maybe one player from a certain team. Whereas when you've got De Bruyne, Foden, and Haaland, you know, 95% of the time, if they're scoring, it's probably going to come through one of them, either someone scoring or someone getting the assist. So yeah, De Bruyne and Haaland for me are the first two up. Cole Palmer is in there without question. I think we all know for the price he is. You know, a lot of people bought him from way back when he was, I think he's about 4.9 at some point in the season. So if you've kept him the whole time, good for you. Like, congratulations, because obviously like, he's up at 6 million now. So he is just Chelsea's main man. He's on penalties. Even when Chelsea are playing bad, he still looks like he's going to return. So for me, it kind of goes without saying. Obviously, he has the most fixtures coming up as well. So yeah, Cole Palmer for me has to be in there. I've gone for Bruno Fernandes. Now this one is an interesting one because, as we saw against Coventry in the FA Cup final, Man United have this tendency where they just don't seem to play well. But Bruno is actually ticking over quite nicely recently. So for me, I think it was just worth the punt. Obviously, they're playing Burnley this week at home. So again, probable starter that you'll have in there, but more so for the double in game week 37. Now, bear in mind, Man United's double in 37 isn't exactly easy. I think it's Arsenal and Newcastle, I believe. So it's not an easy double, but I think with the form Bruno's in at the moment, he looks like the most informed player for United going forward. So that's, yeah, for me personally, it was either a toss-up between him or maybe you look at like another Arsenal midfielder like a Havertz, which, just for the record, like anyone who looking at this draft and thinking that you can make tweaks there, I think an Arsenal defender is still a viable option. I think Arsenal will still keep a couple more clean sheets before the end of the season. Same thing with their midfield. They will still score goals before the end of the season if you want to go for an Odegaard or Havertz. The only reason why Bruno's in here is because he has a double. And that's what it comes down to, just trying to optimize as many fixtures as we can on this wildcard draft because there's only a couple weeks left. And the final player in the midfield, obviously, is Anthony Gordon, who is just a monster at home when he's playing at St. James's Park. Him and Isak just have stricken up like such a good partnership together this season, and we're starting to see it over the last couple of weeks. Like he's returning, Isak's returning. So yeah, Anthony Gordon just kind of, for me, the price as well. He's still very cheap, about 6.1 million. I just don't think you can go wrong. Obviously, he has a double as well, hence why we're tripled up on the Newcastle boys. So yeah, for me, Anthony Gordon has to be that last piece in that midfield puzzle. And yeah, it's a very strong starting five, to be fair. So that is the midfield, that's the defence, that's the keepers covered. Let's get on to the last part of the video, which is the strikers, which hopefully will be bringing us our points. So as you guys can see on the screen, 3 strikers. Isak, Haaland have to be in there without a shadow of a doubt. Isak, probably the most informed striker in the league at the moment. Haaland, the best striker in the league. It just goes without saying, they've got the most fixtures. They've both got doubles in 37. They've both got decent fixtures as well outside of that in their singles. So them two, I think for a lot of people, are going to be a mainstay. And the final one, I've gone for a little bit of a differential here, and that is I've gone for Rasmus Højlund. Now, I was a bit umming and ahhing about tripling up on Man United. Even doubling up, I thought might have been a bit overkill. So once again, just if you've got any tweaks here or there, feel free to do it. You know, I think Ollie Watkins is still a viable option, even though he hasn't got any doubles. I think he still proves, as we saw last week, that he can still return in games. So I think he's still a viable option. But the reason I've gone for Højlund is he is Man United's main striker. He's their number 9. If they are going to score goals, you'd like to think that he would be getting on the end of it. It's just, my one question with him is just the service. Will he get the service? Because we saw it at midway point through the season. He did have a little run with sort of like 6, 7, 8 games where he was scoring consistently. I think the one thing that is the big question around him, is the consistency. Can he carry on doing it every single week? Only time will tell with that, so we'll have to wait and see. But Rasmus Højlund is in there. Like I said, there is other options. Watkins, you could take a gamble on Tony or Visser. Tony's obviously a bit problematic at the moment with his starting time. So that's why I've gone for Højlund. Obviously, Højlund has a double in 37. But yeah, there's definitely tweaks you can do to this team to make it your own. This is just like a rough template of kind of what I would pick if I was wildcard. And unfortunately, I used mine back in game week 24. So I don't have that luxury of getting ready for 37 like that. But I hope this video has helped you guys in some way. I'm going to be back later on this week with a few more videos. I'm doing a transfer target video, another FPL challenge video. So there will be a few more videos on this channel for the rest of the week. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to drop it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And I'll catch you guys next time.